Okay, we're diving into one of the most shocking and controversial friendly fire incidents in modern history. On June 8th, 1967, right in the middle of the Six-Day War, a U.S. Navy intelligence ship was attacked by its close ally, Israel. We're going to unpack what happened using a once top-secret CIA intelligence memorandum. Let's get into it. And here it is. This is our primary source. It's dated just 5 days after the attack, so this is the CIA's immediate, unfiltered take on the whole thing. We're going to walk through exactly what this official report reveals, step by step. So this really is the central question, isn't it? It's a question that people have been debating for decades. How on earth did a U.S. Navy ship end up getting attacked by an ally? Was it just a tragic, unbelievable mistake? Or was there something else going on? This memo gives us some absolutely crucial pieces of the puzzle. To really get what happened, you first have to understand the ship itself. The USS Liberty, well, it wasn't your typical naval vessel, and its mission was top secret. Just look at this map. You can see how close to the action the Liberty was. It's in international waters, sure, but it's parked right off the coast of the Sinai Peninsula, a major battlefield in the war. I mean, that is a very, very dangerous neighborhood for a spy ship to be hanging out in. Right, so here's the key. The Liberty was a signet collector. Its entire job was to be a giant floating ear, basically. It was out there to hoover up electronic signals, radio transmissions, radar signals, you name it, to gather intelligence on the conflict. This was a high-value and very secret asset. And here's another really important detail. The Liberty didn't look like a standard warship. It was actually a converted merchant ship, which gave it a pretty unique shape. Now, you're going to want to keep that detail in mind because it becomes absolutely central to this whole question of identification. Okay, let's move on to the attack itself. The CIA memo lays out a very clear and, honestly, a terrifyingly rapid sequence of events. It all starts in the morning. Israeli jets are seen circling the ship, just checking it out. Then, silence for hours. And then, at 3:05 p.m., all hell breaks loose. The attack begins with no warning at all. 6 strafing runs by jets. The crew is just reeling from that. And then, only 20 minutes later, they spot 3 torpedo boats closing in fast. At 3:28, a torpedo slams into the side of the ship. It was a sudden, multi-pronged, and absolutely devastating assault. So now, we get to the heart of the controversy. This is the part of the CIA memo that has been picked apart and scrutinized for years. How could this happen? Was it really, truly a mistake? Now, listen to this. This is a direct quote from Intercepted Israeli communications right after the attack. It's a transmission from their control tower to a helicopter pilot. It shows you the Israeli perspective in that moment. They believed they had just attacked an enemy warship, and now they were sending someone in to rescue survivors. And this is the official explanation that came out. According to this document, the Israelis misidentified the Liberty as the El Qusair, an Egyptian transport ship. This became the entire foundation for the mistaken identity argument. But was it a reasonable mistake to make? You know, the memo presents evidence that really cuts both ways, and it creates this deeply confusing picture. So let's break down the arguments that the document itself presents. Okay, so on one side, you have the case for misidentification. The memo says the ships had similar hulls and masts, and an overzealous pilot could have made the mistake. But then you look at the other side, the case against a mistake, and it's powerful. The weather was clear, an American flag was flying, and the ship's unique hull number, GTR-5, was painted in big letters right on its side. And this might be the most damning detail in the entire document. An Israeli pilot radios in that he literally sees the number GTR-5 on the ship, but the controller on the ground tells him the number has no significance. Think about that. The key identifying mark was seen, it was reported, and then it was just dismissed. So after that dismissal, you have this huge delay. According to the CIA, it took a full 44 minutes after the attack was completely over for the Israelis to finally confirm, oh, wait, that ship is American. That is a long time to stay confused after an assault like this one. And the result of this failure of identification, as the memo calls it, well, it was absolutely catastrophic. Let's take a look at the damage and the very real human toll. The ship was just savaged. That torpedo tore open a 39-foot hole, which caused massive flooding. all the critical communications gear was wiped out, leaving the ship totally isolated. And, just cruelly, most of their life rafts were destroyed in the attack, leaving very few options to escape. The human cost was immediate and just brutal. 10 American sailors were killed. On top of that, another 90 were wounded, many of them severely. And 22 more were listed as missing, most likely trapped inside those flooded compartments. When you add it all up, that's over 120 casualties on a ship that wasn't even in combat. So in the end, what's the bottom line from this document, written right in the immediate aftermath? Well, it comes to a very direct conclusion. It doesn't speculate on why. It simply states the facts as the CIA saw them. The Israelis failed to identify the Liberty as a U.S. ship before or during the attack. So the CIA memo basically frames this whole thing as a failure, a tragic error. But, that official conclusion leaves us with a much heavier question. What does it mean when allies make mistakes of this magnitude? It's a question this 1967 document raises, but one that definitely echoes long after the fog of war has lifted.